The Growing Dome is designed for year-round gardening. It's been tried and tested in the rugged Rocky Mountains of Colorado through harsh, dry, high-altitude summers, as well as cold, brutal, snowy winters. But what if you don't live in the Rockies? Will it still work for you? The simple answer is yes. The Growing Dome can be adapted for practically any climate. We have them in all 50 states and 16 countries around the world. To design the perfect growing dome for your climate, we first need to ask a few questions. What are your average summer highs and winter lows as far as temperature goes? How many sunny days do you get on average every year? What is your average snow accumulation? How windy is it? Do you have rodents that you deal with? Those kinds of questions will help us get a baseline of what types of adaptations we can make to the Growing Dome kit. Then we'll want to go one step further. We'll want to ask, what do you plan on using the space for? What types of plants do you want to grow? What type of gardening method do you want to use? Those types of questions will help us fine-tune the kit to work within your climate for your needs. The Growing Dome is on average 20 to 30 degrees warmer than outside ambient temperatures in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, and similar climates. We experience about 300 sunny days a year with an average relative humidity of 20 to 45%, and we also experience snow accumulations of about 60 inches in town every winter and about 400 inches in the surrounding mountains. So what does all that mean? In the wintertime, we can expect the Growing Dome to be around 50 degrees Fahrenheit when it's freezing outside. And that's without need for any supplemental heating. When it comes to wind, we don't live in a very windy area. However, we can experience gusts up to 45 miles per hour. But that's not to worry because all of our Growing Dome greenhouses are rated for 115 mile per hour winds, regardless of the foundation type. For our climate and most others, a simple and cost-effective gravel foundation will suffice. However, if you live in a more windy area or you live in an area that experiences, let's say, hurricanes, you can opt for a more hardy foundation such as concrete piers or an insulated concrete form foundation. We can also add additional studs in the wall to support higher wind loads. And depending on your snow load, we can add additional strapping to the struts and around the door frame to accommodate higher loads. At the end of the day, a greenhouse is designed to trap heat. So if you regularly experience temperatures above 90 degrees, you'll likely want to consider some type of supplemental cooling system. If you live in a very arid climate, you can opt for a misting system, which we offer as an add-on to our Growing Dome kits, and that system can decrease the temperatures in your greenhouse about 10 to 15 degrees. If you need a little bit more than that, you can opt for an evaporative cooler, also known as a swamp cooler, which can decrease your temperatures a little bit more. Typically, those types of systems will require a designated garden hose, at least our misting system does, and if you opt for the swamp cooler or evaporative cooler, you'll probably need electricity as well. These types of systems work by adding moisture and humidity into the air, therefore lowering the temperature. But what if you already live in a humid climate? You'll want to opt for an air conditioning unit and potentially even a dehumidifier. That way you could take some of that excess humidity out of the air. Adding more isn't going to help your situation. Kind of along those same lines, if you live in an area that's often cloudy or experience consecutive days or extended periods in the single digits or below, you'll likely want to have supplemental heating on standby. Remember that the Growing Dome is on average 20 to 30 degrees warmer than it is outside, so once we drop to the single digits, it's a good idea to add a little bit of extra heat. If you know that these types of temperature conditions exist in your area, it's a good idea to go ahead and run electricity to your greenhouse if you can, because electric options for heating and cooling are often more cost-effective and easier to use. If you are off-grid, you can opt for heating sources such as wood stoves, pellet stoves, propane heaters, or even a climate battery. Let's briefly talk about climate batteries. A climate battery consists of a series of tubes that is run 4 to 6 feet below the ground surface underneath your greenhouse. It will have an intake fan and an exhaust fan on each end. The fans will circulate the warm or cool air depending on the season through the ground and out the other side. The ground's temperature at that depth is about 55 degrees no matter the time of year, so it can help to heat or cool your greenhouse depending on the season. A climate battery typically requires an ICF foundation to accompany it and is therefore a large upfront investment. It can be a great investment for those who want to grow tropicals in more northern latitudes, but others might find it more cost-effective to just add heating and cooling as necessary. For our friends in more northern latitudes, when sunlight can be limited during certain times of the year, grow lights are a great option to keep you growing even in the darkest of days. Let's take a little bit of time to talk about solar versus electric options for all of our components that come with our Growing Dome kits. Our 15 through our 26-foot growing domes are designed to be solar powered. So they have a solar powered water feature, a solar powered undersoil fan. The venting panels don't require any electricity, and we also have a hybrid intake fan. What's nice about the hybrid intake fan is that it does have a solar panel, so the fan will run on solar during the day, and then you have the option to plug it into electricity so that you can run it at nighttime. This is great for those that live in really high heat areas so that you can run the fans when it's coolest outside. One thing to mention, all of those components are passive solar, so they'll only operate when the sun is shining. When it comes to our larger domes, the 33 and the 42, they are all electrical standard, but we can opt to upgrade you to solar components if you desire to be off-grid. All of our standard growing dome kits now meet the industry standard of a full air exchange in 2 minutes or less. If you have any questions about what components come with each size, we do have detailed virtual tours that you can check out up here for each different growing dome. In this growing dome, we've opted to grow with the seasons in a traditional raised garden bed. This means that we plant our heat-loving crops in the summertime, so we've got lots of small tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, we have some eggplants in here, and in the wintertime we grow a lot more brassicas, leafy greens, and kales. We have a fig tree in this dome, which is a hardy variety. It does go dormant in the winter and loses its leaves, which is a great thing because that means we're not limiting the solar gain to our greenhouse. As long as we have sunshine hitting that above ground pond, we don't need to add any supplemental heating in here. About 100 feet away, we have an avocado growing in our 33-foot growing dome, so let's go see what that looks like. In this growing dome, as I mentioned, we have an avocado. And we've made some strategic choices to make it possible to grow this here in Pagosa Springs. If you look at our flooring choice, we have opted for paved stone wall-to-wall. This is going to absorb more heat in the wintertime, so we don't have to add as much supplemental heating. We do opt to run an electrical heater in here. We set the temperature at 50 degrees, so we'll only turn on if the temperature inside drops below that. Because we've opted for the paved stone flooring, it does mean that it gets hotter in here in the summertime. So we do have our misting system installed in here, as well as a couple of horizontal airflow fans. Pro tip, if you are going to install horizontal airflow in your greenhouse, it's a great idea to do so behind your above ground pond. That way you're helping to move that cool air throughout the entire structure. If you are going to install more than one horizontal airflow fan, it's a good idea to place them opposite of each other. That way they're increasing the air circulation. From the middle of the Bering Sea on the Aleutian Islands of Alaska to the dense rainforests of Colombia, growing domes are being used by gardeners worldwide to accomplish their dreams of year-round gardening. That was a lot of information for a short video, so please reach out to us. You can call us or email us. I'll have the information in the description box to learn more about how we can adapt the growing dome to fit your needs. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.